You guys good? Mr. Bottom again? Mr. Wenzel? All right. Good morning. We're going to call the session of the Talent and Recruitment Committee of May 21 to 2024 to order. And before I go into the first item on the agenda, as I was sitting out in the public today, I just noticed that it was hard to hear. Are you hearing anything better at the moment or not? Okay, I'll try to speak directly into my mic, and we do have IT working on some of the issues as well. On the first item on our agenda is our first set of public comment time. If you'd like to make a comment, please come on up to the podium, state your name, and you have up to 3 minutes to direct your comments to myself as the chair of this committee.
Morning, Sheila Detloff, Holland Township.
Morning.
I'd like to talk about the CMH board appointments. At the Board of Commissioners meeting on March 26th, you, Commissioner Miedema, and Commissioner Zylstra had an exchange about the fact that the CMH board was short 2 members, both positions that need to be held by primary consumers. In the meeting, you said, and this is a quote, 2 primary consumers are still needed. They need to go through the interview experience. The obvious implication, to me at least, was that 2 people had applied and just needed to be interviewed. And when Mr. Zylstra asked, we should see that within a month, you responded, yeah. And you went on to say, and I think our next CMH meeting is not until the end of April, if I'm not mistaken. And you were correct about that. The next CMH meeting was on April 26th, exactly 1 month after that conversation you had with Mr. Zylstra. But, excuse me, by April 6th, applications were opened again for the primary consumer role on the CMH board with a new deadline of April 30th. I emailed you about all of this on April 6th, and you did reply and answered one of my questions, and I appreciate that. You didn't answer whether you already had 2 applicants, so I FOIA'd the information instead. The 2 people you are recommending today for the primary consumer roles had both applied before the end of February. Plus, you already had 4 other applicants by that March 26th meeting when Commissioner Zylstra questioned you about it. Extending the deadline another month when you already had 6 applicants only gained you 2 more applicants. I'm wondering why you extended the deadline when you already had 2 applicants. I don't know if you didn't like the 2 applicants who had already applied. They turned out to be eligible. I think Vonnie Vanderswag could tell us that you never make exceptions to deadlines, but that seemed to be the case here. And I'm very perplexed about why that happened. I am glad to see that you're finally filling these roles. They really could have and should have been filled a month ago. Extending the deadline didn't do any good. Commissioner Cosby talked in the last meeting about the wildly important goals and an accelerated process with determining deliverables. Maybe that's something you could look at with getting these kind of roles filled here too. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to make a public comment? All right, not seeing any more comments. We're going to move on to our next part of our agenda. All right. Next is approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. All right, agenda is approved. We have 1 consent resolution to approve the minutes from the March 19, 2024 Talent and Recruitment Committee meeting. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Right, we have a second and a motion made. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Right, motion passes. This month, we are going to look at some action items to fill several open seats. The first 2 action items are similar. The only difference is the term length. There were 2 qualified applicants, and the interview subcommittee is recommending both of them. The first action item comes to us from the Ottawa County Community Mental Health Board, and the suggested motion is to place into nomination and forward to the Board of Commissioners the names of Robin Wick and Stephen Savage, and to select one to fill 1 primary consumer vacancy beginning January. I might have a typo. Let's make sure I have that. December 17, 2023, and ending March 31, 2026. First, can we get a motion on this?
So moved.
Second.
Right. The interview subcommittee is recommending Robin Wick to fill this seat, and we will need to take a roll call vote on this. Are we ready to take a roll call vote? Good. All right.
Ready?
Mhm.
Ms. Cosby,
Robin Wick.
Mr. Bonema,
Robin Wick.
Mrs. Wenzel,
Robin Wick.
and Mrs. Medema.
Robin Wick.
Robin moves forward.
Okay. So we'll recommend Robin to the Board of Commissioners. And then that brings us up to our second action item, which also comes from the Ottawa County Community Mental Health Board. And the suggested motion is to place into nomination and forward to the Board of Commissioners the names of Stephen Savage and Robin Wick, and to select one to fill one consumer vacancy beginning April 1, 2024 and ending March 31, 2027. Can we get a motion on this?
So moved.
Is there okay. The interview subcommittee is recommending Stephen Savage for this seat, and we'll also need to take a roll call vote on this one.
Ms. Cosby,
Stephen Savage.
Mr. Bonema,
Stephen Savage.
Mrs. Wenzel,
Stephen Savage.
and Mrs. Medema.
Stephen Savage.
Stephen moves forward.
All right, thank you. Our next action item comes to us from Ottawa County Community Action Agency Advisory Board, and the suggested motion is to place into nomination and forward to the Board of Commissioners the names of Kate Krisman, Rochelle Gelder, and to select two to fill two consumer sector vacancies beginning May 15, 2024 and ending May 15, 2027. Can I get a motion on this?
So moved.
Support.
All right. Just a little bit of extra information. The Community Action Advisory Board director is recommending both Kate Krisman and Rochelle Gelder. And just a reminder that this particular seat on the Community Action Advisory Board goes through a different process. I was just going to say than is typically done with other seats. The Ottawa County Community Action Advisory Board conducts the interview process for the consumer sector seats on the board and then forwards the recommendations to Talent and Recruitment and the Board of Commissioners for approval for these particular seats. So we will need to take a roll call vote on this if we're ready to do that.
Mr. Bonema,
Chrisman and Gelder.
Mrs. Wenzel,
Chrisman and Gelder.
Ms. Cosby,
Kate Chrisman and Rochelle Gelder.
and Mrs. Medema.
Kate Krisman and Rochelle Gelder.
Both Kate and Rochelle move forward.
All right, thank you. So that concludes our action items this month, and then that brings us up to the chair's report. I've noticed some confusion as well as some false and inaccurate statements out there regarding the process and makeup of the Talent and Recruitment Committee. And so I simply just want to provide some information on the process, protocols, and procedures as it relates to this committee. Any of the information I share with you can be verified by the clerk's office as well as with administration. First, the members of the Talent and Recruitment Committee are appointed by the chair of the Board of Commissioners at the start of each new calendar year. This year, we have had 5 members serving. Myself as chair, Commissioner Cosby as vice chair, Commissioner Bonema, Commissioner Wenzel, and up until last week, Commissioner Ebel. At the next Board of Commissioner meeting, Chair Joe Moss will appoint one more commissioner to serve alongside us on this committee. The county also has a Talent and Recruitment Subcommittee, which is made up of commissioners from this committee responsible for conducting interviews for a variety of board seats. Historically, that number has typically been 3 commissioners, the chair, the vice chair, and then one more commissioner voted on by this committee to serve in that capacity. This year, the 3 commissioners voted on to serve have been Commissioner Cosby, Commissioner Ebel, and myself. I anticipate having an action item next month to add one more commissioner to the interview subcommittee. And then a little bit about the application process. When seats are nearing their term ending, the clerk's office posts the openings on our county website for typically 30 days, sometimes more, but most of the time, at least 30 days. The communications department puts the word out advertising the open seats. Constituents can stay up to date on latest board and committee openings by subscribing to receiving the information, by signing up to receive emails and other kind of news at myottawa.org. Typically, mini seats become open, just as a reminder, in September and October in anticipation of mini seats needing to be filled for starting to serve in January. And then how to apply to serve. How to apply to serve on a board, commissioner, committee. Anyone with a desire to serve needs to go through the application process online at myottawa.org. Under the Board of Commissioners tab, select Apply for a Board or Commission. View the open board or committee seats. Log in to apply for the seat you have interest in. If it's your first time applying to be considered for a seat, you will first need to create an account. The steps are all explained on the website. Contrary to some false information, you do not need to reach out to the chair of talent and recruitment to apply for a board or commission. I'm happy to help answer questions on the process or direct you to someone in the clerk or administration's office, but you don't directly reach out to the chair to apply. After the application deadline, the clerk's office reaches out to qualified applicants to schedule a short interview. Most of them are done online with the interview subcommittee. After the interview subcommittee conducts all the interviews for a particular seat, they make a recommendation for nomination to the Talent and Recruitment Committee to consider. From there, it proceeds to the full Board of Commissioners for a final vote. All applications are made known to the public by way of the packet and are listed as either eligible or ineligible based on requirements for each unique seat. We adhere by MCL law and bylaws that are provided by the various boards and committees. Whichever applicant receives the most vote becomes the appointed member for that board seat. The clerk's office follows up in contacting every applicant to let them know the outcome of the decision made by the Board of Commissioners. This committee has been for making recommendations to serve on various boards and committees that have been established by Ottawa County. This committee, as of this writing, has not been intended for vetting employees such as the interim administrator position. This has been something I've seen posted on social media, and I again want to clarify that this committee is currently put in place for board and committee appointments. I hope that this information is helpful. And now we're up to our second opportunity for public comment. And I wondered if there was anyone that would like to come on up, and you have up to 3 minutes.
With that, Holland Township. Thanks for explaining all that, actually. That was very useful information. I saved these comments for the end because they did not apply to today's agenda, but they do apply to this committee. There were several issues with the recent Compensation Commission debacle that concerned the committee appointments in December of 2023 that I want to point out. First, I'm wondering why there were 4 seats on the Compensation Commission that came up at the same time, all with 4-year terms from January 1st, 2024 to December 31st, 2027. If MCL 45.472 were followed, it would be impossible to have more than 2 full-term vacancies per year. If there were vacancies created by someone leaving the board, those should have been filled at the time of vacancy. And according to MCL 45.472, a vacancy shall be filled for the remainder of the unexpired term, not for a full 4-year term. Second, MCL 45.472 also says, and I quote, members shall be appointed before October 1st of the year of appointment. Yet this committee appointed 4 members in December of 2023, all with terms starting January 1st, 2024. As far as I can tell, that makes all 4 of those appointments invalid according to MCL. Third, MCL 45.472 also says, and I quote, the county officers' compensation commission shall consist of 7 members who are registered electors residing in the county. Again, with the word shall, which the Common Legal Group insists means it is mandated. And yet when 1 member resigned, nothing was done to replace them. If we're going to be such a stickler for the legal meaning of the word shall, that in the legal opinion from Common Legal Group, they actually provided like 3 backups for why that meant that it was a mandate, then it should be applied across the board and not just to things of their choosing. So to me, it's clear that the Compensation Commission was invalid starting in December of 2023, when this committee made recommendations for, and the full board approved, appointments that were not compliant with MCL 45.472. Blaming Larry Jackson for not following the statute when this committee and the full board apparently could not figure it out, even with the help of corporate counsel, would be kind of laughable if it weren't so pathetic. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to make a comment?
Hi, Chantal Martineau, Park Township. I just wanted to say thank you for addressing the AV issues that we can hear you, the chair, just fine out here, but it's still difficult to hear some of the rest of you. Commissioner Cosby is always very difficult to hear because you need to speak directly into your microphone. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, not seeing anyone else. We are at the end of our meeting and we are